What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, give us a like, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Today, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about more off the field stuff, and that is what I think is the most important attribute that a quarterback has to have to be successful, and that's at any level, whether it's youth, high school, college, professional level. This is something that I think that every quarterback must possess, and there's a lot of different things out there that go into being a successful quarterback, but I think there are a couple things that go across the board what it takes to be successful, and this is, I think, one of the ones that every single quarterback, successful quarterback that we see at any level has this, and that is consistency, okay? And consistency / leadership. So you could really make the argument it's one or both of these two things, but consistency is huge for quarterbacks. And the reason is this is a team game, right? And the quarterback is the leader of the team, right? You've probably heard the term, quarterbacks are field generals. And that is true. And one of the things when you're on the field with your guys, one of the biggest things that will help them be able to, your offense to move the ball, coaches to plan around you and for the day whatever the game plan is, as well as just for your guys to know what they expect from their signal caller, is consistency from the quarterback position. We've seen, you see guys like Cam Newton or maybe even a Jameis Winston. Winston specifically, I think, jumps out at me as, man, he's either throwing 5 touchdowns a game and no picks against like the Saints, how he did week 1, and then he comes back around and then against Carolina the very next week, not a very great game. And so one of the things with Jameis, a guy like that, is he is so wildly talented and has so much potential, but he lacks the consistency week in and week out, whereas Drew Brees, the guy he just replaced, probably in a straight up, tit for tat. Winston's probably the more talented quarterback, obviously, if you're looking at Drew Brees at his prime and Jameis Winston at his prime. I think as just talented quarterbacks, Winston's probably a lot better, but I think anybody would say I'm taking Drew Brees over Jameis Winston if they're both, at their best, just simply because I know what I'm going to get with Drew Brees. He's throwing for 4,500 yards every year. He's throwing for 40 touchdowns every year. Doesn't throw a ton of picks. Doesn't make a lot of bad decisions. Obviously, he's, especially later in his years, didn't push the ball vertical as much. But you know what? You knew when he dropped back, when he made a throw, it was going to be on the money. It was going to be consistent. He was going to make the right decisions, and you were going to have a chance to win the game. And that's really what we want from our quarterback. So I want to kind of go into this concept of consistency, and I think this is both on the field and off the field. Consistency for the quarterback position is very important because, number one, you are a leader on your team. Whether you're a rah-rah guy, you're vocal maybe, or maybe not, it doesn't matter. If you're a quarterback, you're automatically put into a position of leadership. That's just something by default that every quarterback is in, whether that is your personality or not. You are a leader. So we need to be aware of that as quarterbacks, that, hey, guys are looking at us, guys are counting on us, coaches are counting on us, the school is counting on us to make sure that we are handling our business week in and week out. And consistency is a huge part of that. If you've got a quarterback who's in and out of trouble, or, like we talked about on the field, that's a very hard guy to, follow and really hitch your wagon to, because, hey, when he's great, but when he's down, and I can't count on him being there, And so I think consistency means whether you're in the classroom, whether you're in the locker room, whether you're on the field, or whether you're at home or any other area that you may be in, being consistent, your character being consistent in all those different areas plays a huge role. Because here's the other thing. Especially if you're a serious athlete and you're in high school and college, you're going to spend more time with your coaches, probably, but definitely your teammates. You're going to spend more time with your teammates than you will your coaches or your parents or probably any of your other friends in general throughout the year combined. In terms of, you may go home every night and your parents are there, but you may see them for 2 hours during dinner or whatever, but you're with your teammates in the locker room, in the weight room, in the classroom, right? You may spend a lot of time with your coaches breaking down film, or obviously practicing and stuff, but they're not with you every day in the classroom. So you've got that 8 hours in the classroom every day that you're with your teammates, and then you've got all the other things as well. So your teammates and I think this is huge, your teammates are going to see the realest side of you, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Your teammates are going to see the real you. And if you're a guy who you're wanting guys to follow you and you're going to lead them into battle, I want a leader, I want a field general who I know who I'm getting. I don't want somebody that I know is fake, right? That puts on this persona when he's in this arena, but then when he gets in the locker room, he's a totally different person when, the cameras are off or whatever. And I think that there are guys who, throughout the history of the quarterback position, have done things like that, where they put on a nice face or they put on, this personality, or they do this or that and the other when they're around the cameras, around the lights, or around just people that they think need to see that. And then when they're around their teammates, they're a completely different person. And even if your teammates are cracking wise or egging it on or whatever, they see that and they don't respect it. They may put up with it, especially if you're a talented player, but they don't respect it. And so when times get tough, you need to know that the guy that's leading you, man, he is going to be the same guy every single place we go. And so consistency in the classroom, be there on time. I would encourage every quarterback to be in one of the first 2 rows in every class. No excuses. From day one of school, you are in the first 2 rows. And probably all football players need to do that. But again, I hold quarterbacks to a higher standard because we're different. We are the quarterback. We are the leader. So in the first 2 rows of the classroom, taking notes, paying attention, okay? Being good students, studying hard, all that good stuff. And then it transitions into the locker room. If you're going to be someone in front of the teachers and then a totally different person in front of your teammates when you're in the locker room, and I understand you're going to cut loose a little bit more than, in front of your buddies than you will your teachers. So I'm not saying you have to keep it as, completely buttoned up. But at the same time, if you're just 2 different people, then they're going to see that and they're not going to respect it. And they're not going to follow you as blindly. And that's what you want at the end of the day. You want people that, man, this guy, I know what I get from him. I know he's going to lead us. I know he's going to make the right decision. I don't even have to see where we're going. I know if he's in the lead, we're going to get to where we want to be. And if you're not a consistent person or a consistent leader, then it's very hard to blindly follow someone and really fully commit to that person. And the other thing is, it's just easier, when we're talking about leadership, when you know what you've got with a guy, they're gonna do more for you, right? If they know that, number one, you're a team player and you really genuinely love the team and want the team to be successful over yourself, not just when the reporters are saying it and you're saying, oh yeah, my teammates, this, that, and the other, and then in the locker room or on the field or whatever, it's all about you. They see that, and a guy who is really all about themselves, their teammates they may play hard, but they're not going to play for that guy, and they're not going to play as hard for him as they would for a guy who's really fully invested in the program and in their teammates and really truly believes that this is a team sport and not that they can just run out there and do it by themselves. So being genuine there is huge, and believing that. And so you could go from a receiver who maybe he reaches a little bit out for a pass that's a little bit off. If you're a fake guy in terms of being in the locker room, maybe you think it's all about you. Maybe they're not going to work as hard. They're not going to lay out completely for that ball if you're talking all this smack about how you're this and that. And but on the other hand, the guy that knows that you've got his back and he's got yours, they're going to lay out for that pass. They're going to do a little bit more. They're going to go that whole 9 yards. And that's what we want as a quarterback, and that's what we want as a team. And the quarterback has an opportunity to harvest that kind of mentality throughout the team. And I think a lot of the times it starts and ends with the quarterback, whether a team has good chemistry or not. And so being consistent is huge. Another thing that being consistent is important with is even on the field. If your guy is running that slant route and maybe you're just not the best at throwing the slant, and obviously that's something we can maybe improve on, but maybe you're just not the best at throwing that 3-step slant. If that receiver, when he cuts, he at least knows, okay, he's going to throw it. It's going to be on the wrong shoulder, but he's consistent. He does his best, and he's consistent that he's right here. It's not where I'd like it, but it's right here. That is better for a receiver adjusting to that ball than, okay, one time, he's going to throw it down here, and the next one he's going to get me killed because he reaches me too far out, and then he's going to have me jump high. So even if you're a little bit off, being consistent in that way, the predictability of, hey, you know what? I know where that ball is going to be. he's consistent with it, he works hard on it, and even if it's a little bit off, I can live with it and I can better adjust and prepare for that because I have a general idea of where it's going to be. Consistency on the field is also huge as well. And so that's another big thing with, quarterbacks obviously getting time in with their receivers alone, making sure that they're working on those things. So even those little nuances that maybe that quarterback does that aren't, exactly perfect, that receiver can go into the game knowing that's going to happen, expecting that to happen, and still making the play because of it. So consistency, and we talk about leadership all the time. I think consistency and leadership are synonyms. I think they're very, very closely matched, and I don't think you're a good leader if you're not consistent, and vice versa. I don't think you're consistent and can be a good leader or be a good leader and not be consistent. And so I view those two things as a very, very similar trait. We call them different words. They probably are slightly different, but I want to put it down to consistency because number one, leadership is kind of an obscure, just kind of general word that I think we throw out a lot. He's a great leader. We need to be good leaders. But what does that really mean? I think when you boil it down at its very fundamental level, great leaders are consistent. And if you're a consistent person on the field, off the field, in the classroom, film room, weight room, at home, with your parents, with your friends, at church, wherever you are, that is leadership. And so I think at the end of the day, if you are consistent, okay, even if you're not the best out there, if you are consistent, that's what guys will follow. And so I would encourage every quarterback, work on being consistent in every area of your life. Be consistently great, right? You can be consistently poor or consistently average. Be consistently great. Remember, every single day, we're either getting better or we're getting worse. There is no stay the same. So choose greatness every day. Consistently choose greatness in every area of your life. They say that it takes 21 days to form a habit. So maybe if we're not as consistent in some areas as we need to be, take these next 3 weeks, really hone in on that and make sure we are consistent in every area of our lives. And that is where great leadership is born. And that's how we'll get guys to follow us even more. And that's how we will ultimately win more games. Because when teammates are playing for each other and the whole school is on the bandwagon and we're all on the same page, it's much easier to form a game plan, execute it, and win ball games as a result. So quarterbacks, in my opinion, the most important thing that a quarterback must possess is consistency. And being consistent will mean you are a good leader. All right, guys, thanks again for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give this a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Leave us down in the comments what you think. Maybe if you disagree or think there's another attribute that you think is ahead of that in terms of what is the most most important for quarterbacks, let me know down in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one.